the night, I usually point out a few books. A wonderful collection by Benedict Ward, The Sayings of the Desert Fathers. Benedict Ward, also The Lives of the Desert Fathers. Laura Swan on the Desert Mothers. And Helen Waddell, the Desert Fathers as well. And Drinking from the Hidden Fountain by Thomas Spidlick. All of these are going to tell you a little bit about their lives, and then our, pardon me, large collections of sayings and stories. Questions, doubts, fears, concerns, points of objection.
They keep like little journals. I mean, how do we know all this stuff other than someone going to the desert?
Their disciples, the younger monks.
Oh, that went to the
Yeah. Or folks who went out to them for advice would go back into town and say, Abba Anthony said, and eventually someone wrote them all down. Yep. Again, a big part of this, it's going to start with Athanasius and his life of Saint Anthony.
I just don't know how they got all this stuff together.
Yes.
I mean, they didn't have printing presses, they didn't have journal, I mean, a little here, a little there. Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
Well, there was a calendar year like we have now, and so Anthony was in the desert for 20 years.
Yes.
First of all, how did he get food?
Well, you missed that part. They did indeed grow what they could. All of them would engage in some kind of handicrafts. So, I mean, the stories about them making baskets and then going into town like once every month or once every 2 months to sell the baskets and then buy other things. Or folks, like I was saying, who would come out to them for advice, would also bring stuff, you know, bread, stuff that they couldn't produce by themselves.
And how was the calendar?
Same as what? Yes. Now, if you're talking about, you know, did Anthony know that he was born in the year 247 AD? Probably not. That calendar comes in. Jerome lives when? 480. Yeah, the calendar as we know it is not going to come in until the very late 5th century. Up until this point, they're still going to tell years by basically, oh, this was the first year of Emperor so-and-so, or whatever, and eventually they're going to come and straighten everything out and put a uniform or a more or less uniform system in. And then remember, there's a calendar reform again in the 17th century, I believe. But it's held up because then Europe is split between Catholics on one side and Protestants on the other side, so you could cross a border and lose weeks. This is not finally resolved until 1918 when Russia finally joins us on the Gregorian calendar. So they were 13 days behind until then. And some of them still.
They chose the desert just because it was so out there and there was no one.
They could be alone.
They could be alone.
Yep.
Wow. I would pick some place where I could grow something. I don't know what you grow in the desert.
Well,
they ate rocks and sticks, I guess.
We got a lot of dates.
But Anthony lived to be 106.
Yeah.
yeah.
Pretty good in the desert.
Yeah. But even now, think about this even now. You'll read every now and then there are folks out there saying, if we ate a third or less of what we actually eat, that our lifespans would be so much more. Well, I think, you know,
No
we're seeing
processed foods.
that there.
No processed foods.
No processed foods.
A lot less meat.
What's the, well, probably none. Probably none. No meat.
How long did this way of life go on, where they just, I mean, they don't, people live like that now?
It went on until at least 8:30 p.m. on March 29th. Go to Mount Athos. Monasticism, yeah, Mount Athos in Greece or Mount Sinai, and this is still going on.
They all, yeah.
Mount Athos, no. Mount Athos is very strict. Women are not allowed. And you need a special visa stamp to get in.
Then I don't want to go where I'm not wanted.
Okay. So,
I find it just amazing.
yes. And again, in the Western Church, you can see this way of like at Trappist abbeys, Carthusian monasteries. You know, if you haven't seen the film Into Great Silence, see it, but do a little reading before you see it, because this is a movie with no dialogue, they don't tell you what's going on. They just got in there one day and started to film, and it's their life without any overt explanation. So do a little reading before you go in, or it won't make a whole lot of sense. And that abbey, by the way, is also, the abbey where that was filmed is also the source of, the liqueur is called, what, chartreuse? That's where that's obtained. The story is, though, not that no one monk knows the entire recipe. That, you know, they pass things on, so this monk knows, okay, I add this, and then he leaves, and then another monk comes, okay, I add this. So we have coffee, we have Anne, so please eat and drink, otherwise
Thank you
I'll see
again.
you next week for our final session.